The next day, the day after the shellacking. Well, I don't need this, do I? Well, I do to read the comments. The shellacking. The shellacking that we took. We took a shellacking. That's my word of the day. I'm going to say that's my word of the year. 2026 is going to be about the word shellacking. Like when I see Green Bean, I'm going to give him a shellacking. I'm going to take him and I'm going to throw him to the ground and just pound on him. And you're getting a shellacking. Shellacking. Anyway, after the shellacking press conference, our guy gets up, our coach, Aaron Glenn, and he says, defensive coordinator, of course, it comes up. We put up 48 points. It's the second week in a row. By the end of the first quarter, we're down, 21 points. And so right away, are you going to call the plays? That's the way of saying, is this guy Wilks on the hot seat? And half of the Jets fan base had a conniption. A conniption. That's another word I might bring back into our society. A conniption. Because he said, oh, well, I'm going to let him play it out. I'm not going to do that. That's called coach talk. And this was proven, obviously, 12 hours later. But it's called coach speak. They're not going to sit there and say, he's not going to feed the media that. He's not going to say, yeah, I'm calling the plays. He can't call play. He's not going to do that. But what happened behind closed doors? They did the analysis. They talked about it. They thought it out. And they fired him. Half the Jet fans, up there, I'm catching them all in their posts. How could he not fire Wilks? How could he sit there? He's the worst. I don't trust him. And then what do they say? Sack exchange. What do they say when he does fire him and does the right thing? Still not happy. Still not satisfied. I want to tank. I want to tank. We have to lose every game. We have to lose every game. And then we lose. And then it's like, they got to fire him. They got to fire him. They got to fire him. So it's not enough that they're losing. You're screaming how we have to lose. We have to lose. We have to tank. We have to tank. And then we lose. Oh, but I didn't mean lose like that. I didn't mean get killed. Okay, let's think about this for a second. It was a third string, an undrafted free agent, a quarterback that nobody thought was good enough. Nobody drafted him. That's what it means when you're an undrafted free agent. Undrafted, 7th round. Imagine this: you're 200 players in. They're freaking drafting guys you never heard of, and nobody drafted Brady Cook, and that's who's starting for us against a playoff team in their stadium. Sauce Gardner traded. Az Thomas hurt, IR, baloney. He would be playing if it games meant anything. They're tanking. They're doing it. They're saying, let's just shut him down. Garrett Wilson would be playing if these games meant anything. Shut him down. So now we got freaking Stiggers, who's a special teams guy, starting. We got Oliver out there playing safety, right? Everybody else has been shut down. We're battered with injuries, right? Brownlee, who replaced Michael Carter, he's out. So we got Oliver playing, a guy named Clark playing, guys we never even heard of playing. We traded Quinnen Williams also, by the way, from when the year started. We have nothing. We're decimated. We got a 5th-round draft pick playing safety, might be a player. We're trying to develop him, but he's a 5th-round pick. And then you got the terrible, terrible, terrible Tony Adams, who we all know is terrible. So, and I'm not defending Wilks because still the defense, they're not even playing, right? And, he's horrible, right? The linebackers are terrible. We have, it's terrible. So what do we expect? Of course we're going to take a shellacking. Of course we're going to get killed. Look at how bad this roster is. But it's a rebuild. Garrett Wilson is hurt, not really hurt. He's kind of out, but not really out. You know what I mean? They're just shutting him down because it's called tanking without tanking. You can't tell players to lose, but what you could do is say, anybody who's anybody. You got a little bruise on your thumb? Sit out. None of these guys would be out if these games meant anything. None of them. They're out because we don't care. And he's just trying. It's a tryout. It's a rehearsal. Who's good for the future, right? And so I'm not sitting here defending and saying you can't fire Aaron Glenn. I'm saying it's not off to a good start, but you wait 2 years. It's clearly a rebuild. We clearly have no roster. You think you want more effort? That's great. He did the thing you asked him to do. He fired the defensive coordinator. Everybody's screaming, fire the defensive coordinator. He did. They're not firing him. They're not going to fire Aaron Glenn. They're not. We're wanting to lose. We're rooting to lose and then getting mad when we lose. It doesn't make any sense. I'm terribly concerned about him. I don't know if he's the right coach. I'm terribly concerned. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Of course not. And if we're in the same position a year from now, I'm going to be leading the chant to fire him. I will. But I can't do it the first season. I can't. And people have got to stop using New England as an example. It's not the same thing. It's not. And if you think it is, it's because you lack critical thinking skills. You do. You can't compare it. It's different. Why is it different? First of all, they had a young quarterback, ready to go. So that's what Vrabel walked into. Second of all, when they fired Mayo, they knew they were hiring Vrabel. They had a plan. They knew. They said, we got the young quarterback. They said, Mayo is a risk. Why risk a second year with him? He didn't do good the first year. We have a plan. If we had a Vrabel waiting to hire, if there's a great coach waiting to join us, then we could fire Aaron Glenn. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But we don't. There's no plan. You can't compare the two things. What are we going to do? Okay, fire Aaron Glenn. Okay, genius. Now what? Who's going to come into this pathetic roster and win any games? Then you're just going to want to fire that coach. So we should just keep firing coaches every year? Come on. We have to at least wait it out next year. We have to see. Unless somebody cuts loose. Okay, if somebody was to cut loose and it was clear that we could get him, fine. But to sit here and cry about it, oh, they got to fire him. Until you know what the plan is, until you know there's a guy out there that you want that will take the job, what's the point of firing him? So we just have another cuckoo come in? And it's worse because the more you do things like that, the more people aren't going to want to come here. Now, there's a chance that, based on who we draft, we might draft a quarterback that could attract a better coach, and maybe a better coach does shake loose. But with this fan base, no one could agree on anything. Tomlin was fired by Pittsburgh, not this fan base. Half the fan base would be, he stinks. Like, nobody's ever happy anyway. So, it's, I mean, and Knobcraft is saying it. I mean, we all know the real answer, that we can't do anything about, really. And that's Woody Johnson. Like, we're stuck with Woody Johnson. The one thing about Woody Johnson is he does want to win. He's just inept, right? He's made dumb mistakes. He can't keep his freaking face out of it. He hasn't been able to find people. He's went to consultants. He's done everything. He just can't do it. And then he can't stay out of it, and he messes things up for that, right? We all saw that disaster the last 4 years, how he the damage he did to this organization, to this franchise. But the reality is he's the owner. Now, do I think Aaron Glenn's going to work out? Doubtful. It's not looking good. Do I know for a fact that when he starts to build a roster of good players, he can't be a good coach and an effective coach? No, don't know that. Not sure. I just know that there's no point in firing him until we have a better plan. Maybe if Tomlin shook loose from Pittsburgh, and not everyone's going to like it, but some people will. If they fired him to hire him, then I'd say, well, at least they had a plan, right? But it's just, there's just no winning right now. There's no plan. So, why not see out what this guy is trying to do? Of course we're getting killed. Of course we're not winning. Who's playing? Did you watch who was on the field for the Jets yesterday? Do you expect it to be how is it going to be better? How is it going to be better than what you watched? It's an undrafted free agent. It's a guy who's never played before in the NFL. He played last week for a quarter. He was terrible. He's an undrafted free agent, and he clearly is terrible. They took a shot. Right? You roll the dice. Everybody wanted him. Everybody wanted this quarterback to play. Brady Cook, it's time to cook. Brady Cook. On what? Based on what? Based on college football. On a guy who was not even drafted, who's never played. Like, he was going to come in and be great. And we wanted a tank. We want to lose, right? We want to lose. And then when we lose, we complain about losing. It's unbelievable. What do you want? If you wanted to win, fine. So you want to lose, but we have to play really well. You want to play really well, but lose. That would be beautiful. right? But do you think we're being reasonable? The only way, they're not going to go on the field and throw the game. They're not going to do that, right? So the only way they could tank, see the quotes tank, is say, Garrett Wilson, we're shutting him down. We're shutting him down, right? We're shutting down, like we're shutting down anybody that has anything wrong with them at all. But look at that defense. It's not even that talented with our starters. And then when you're going to say Brownlee is out, Quentin Williams is traded, Sauce Gardner is traded, and AZ Thomas is out. So we're down to Stiggers as a starting cornerback. Then we got Stevens, who was the number 2 cornerback, who has been on and off, hot and cold. We knew we weren't getting a star when we signed him. He's been a functional starter. But you got him opposite of Stiggers now, right? You got Quincy Williams. That's the one thing I would agree with everybody. Well, not everybody is saying it, but I think Quincy Williams should be cut. I think they should get him out. They should cut him, make it very public. That's what Bill Parcells would do. He would cut him. You have a guy that's clearly given up. You have a guy who's not playing hard. You benched him. Then when he got hurt, his feelings hurt, he played his ass off and played well. And then as soon as he got comfortable again, he stopped playing. So cut him. Make a statement now. Show the team who you are. That would make me feel better about our coach. We're tanking anyway. Use the excuse. Fire. Release Quincy Williams, unless it hurts us salary cap-wise to cut him now and we're better off waiting. But then publicly bench him. Make him inactive. Get him out. Make a statement. Say, if you're not here to play with everything you have, which he clearly isn't, you don't play. You don't play. I don't care. Get a guy off the garbage heap, but Tony Adams should not be playing. He should not be playing. Get him out. I don't care. We're tanking anyway. Good. Bring in a bunch of scrubs who we'll never see again. We'll see them for 3 games. They're guys that'll work for Home Depot next year. I don't care. Use it as a statement. First of all, it puts us in great position to lose. And then second of all, it makes a statement. Make the statement. Say, if you're terrible, if you're not going to come in here and play with all of your heart, you don't get to play. You don't get to wear the uniform. Do you remember what Parcells did when he went to Dallas? He took the stars off their helmets in training camp. He took the stars off their helmets. He says, you don't get to have a star until you earn one. That's what you do. You make them say, if you want to play, if you want to put on a Jets uniform, that's how you change the culture. That's how you change the Jet allure of being the worst organization in the NFL. You say, if you want to wear this uniform, no longer do you get to suck. No longer do you get to half-ass it. The only people that are going to wear this uniform are they're going to come out and throw their bodies around. And guess what? Those guys that you're going to take off the garbage heap to play safety, they might stink, but they're going to play their asses off. Because they know what an opportunity is. Because you're taking them out of Home Depot, right? It's a last chance in their lives. You find some guys that have been cut or released, it's their last chance in their life to do something. Do it. I'd rather have that than Tony Adams. I'd rather have a guy out there that's playing for his life and his livelihood, that's doesn't have the physical gifts, than have to watch Tony Adams up there just look terrible. And of course, you gotta let Brady cook. Let Brady cook. Yeah, keep him in. Keep him in. I don't want to see Adrian Martinez. No. He might be good. Like, we don't want that. Let's have 3 more interceptions from our boy. Please. Please. What I like about that game, the only good thing you could take out of the game is A.D. Mitchell had another good game. Right, Mechie stopped dropping passes, right? And he made a couple of good catches. That's the only good you could ask for. Tittman looked good, right? Offensive line, is it holding up? It looked like Brady Cook had plenty of time on most of the plays. Yeah, there was some pressures. I hate it when people do that. There was a pressure. Oh, who cares? There's going to be a pressure. There's going to be sacks every game. Look at the stat lines and the box scores of every freaking football game to ever play. There's sacks. There's pressures. It's part of football. It's not going to be perfect. If your expectation is 0 pressure, 0 sacks, you're an idiot. You've never watched football before. I mean, I can't help you. The point is I'll keep watching back. I keep watching back. The offensive line looks good. The offensive line is fine. Our defensive tackles are fine. Briggs is playing fine. Phillips is playing fine. I'm not saying they're stars, but they're playing fine. The problem is we have no linebackers. They're invisible. They're invisible. That touchdown that Trevor Lawrence ran in took 2 minutes. It was the longest play I've ever seen. How did we not have a linebacker take control of that situation? How is it possible? If we had any kind of competency in that position, Quincy Williams is super fast. How did he not get there? How did he run to the side, sit there, whatever, break a tackle, juke someone out, and then run down the sideline? And all that time, no linebacker got there. Those are your men. Those are the line of defense. It's not supposed to come down to the safeties. It's not even supposed to touch the safeties. They're covering receivers at that point. It's the linebackers. Somebody has to figure it out and get there. Someone. There's no way if we had Mo Lewis on this team in his prime, there is no way that Trevor Lawrence scores a touchdown on that play. I don't care where Mo Lewis would have started that play. I guarantee you there's no way. And if we had Mosley, we forget about him. If we had Mosley, even old man Mosley in his last year that lost a step, would not have let that play happen. There's no way. We need to draft a linebacker. We need to fix this problem, and we need to fix it fast. I cannot go another season playing without linebackers. We don't have linebackers on this team. Sherwood maybe is a base linebacker, could play alongside a stud and another really good one. Maybe he could be part of it, but he'd be the weak link. You can't have a linebacker on that field that's worse than Sherwood. He has to be your worst linebacker. But we need to bring in a stud linebacker. So, I mean, that's why I'm not focused on Aaron Glenn yet, because the roster is so bad. Get me a safety. Not Malachi Moore is fine for a 5th round pick. No anger towards him. He was a 5th round pick. What did we expect? We expect him to be a great player. He's potentially a depth piece, or could develop into an average safety, maybe. But he's a rookie right now, so of course he's a rookie playing with terrible players around him. So how much could you expect from him? We need to bring in some real safeties. Sign a veteran. It doesn't even have to be a great player. Just sign someone respectable who knows how to play safety in this league. How hard is it? There was so many guys. The guy from Kansas City, Justin, whatever, I loved him. We could have had him. Even if we didn't have him because we didn't want to spend money because we're doing a rebuild, fine. Just bring me some guy. Just bring in some regular dude. We tried with Cisco, but he's terrible, man. We thought maybe it was Jacksonville, why he played bad, and they fell apart. It turns out that Andre Cisco is terrible. Terrible. They made a mistake with him. That's okay. I forgive Mooch. He did a lot of good things. You're not going to hit on every free agent. Okay? So luckily, it was a 1-year deal. You'll never see Andre Cisco in a Jets uniform again, and good rhythms. Get me some safeties. Draft a good one. Draft a safety with an early round pick. Get a good young safety in there. Go to free agency and just sign a veteran guy. Just sign a guy. A guy, $7-8 million, just an average safety. But who knows, just somebody who's just solid, who didn't just come off of his worst career year like Cisco did, who used to be good. No, just a solid safety, just a regular safety. And then you have Malachi Moore, hopefully gets a little bit better. You have your regular safety, and then you have your young guy that you draft, right? No, I'm not saying you have to use a first-round pick on a safety. You could use a second-round pick. We have 2 of those. Maybe you take a couple of fourths, trade up to the 3rd and grab a guy. Just get me a safety in somewhere in day 2 of the draft, right? And sign one, and then get me a linebacker day 1 or early day 2. First or second round, one of those 4 picks got to be linebacker. Got to be. Probably got to be the first of the second-round picks. It's got to be our second-round pick. It's got to be early because Hill is going to get off the board. He's the last of the 4. There's the Fab 4 right now, or the 4 horsemen, however you want to say it. There were 4 linebackers in this draft that I think we need to get one of those 4. I know people are thinking offense, but really, if Mitchell keeps playing well, I could stomach another year where it's AD Mitchell and Garrett Wilson and Mechie, and then fill in the blank. If they're going to give up on Smith, are we going to keep trying to develop him? Maybe you draft a wide receiver in the later rounds again, get someone exciting in. Williams was actually the special teams guy, was actually playing and making some catches. I'm okay with it because it's a 2-year rebuild. We can't fill every position, but there are certain things we need to establish now, right? I could go a linebacker short. I mean, a wide receiver short, and have Garrett Wilson with an AD Mitchell who might not really be the greatest WR2. And in 27, we have 3 first-round picks bringing a stud wide receiver to go alongside Garrett. I could live with that. I could. I can't live with safety. You have to have. You can't have the worst safety in the room. You got to do something to make the defense average at least. You got to make it somewhat respectable. You have to get a real linebacker. You have to fix the safety room a little bit. You have to. There's certain things that just have to be fixed to be somewhat respectable. So it's not just disgusting and ugly. On offense, WR2, if the right guy is there, I'm not against it. If you take Lemon or whatever, I'd be happy. He's great. I'd be excited. And him and Garrett Wilson will be years of greatness. But don't panic if we don't take one. If we have to live with AD Mitchell as your wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson, there's no reason to panic. It's a 2-year rebuild. We're not going to the playoffs next year. AD Mitchell's getting open. He's a big, strong receiver. He gets open. He's fast. He's good. Mechie is in the slot. He's getting open. Mason Taylor is good. They're good. It's enough weapons. It's not enough to win a Super Bowl. It's not enough where we finally want to be. But that's why Knobcraft eventually using one of those first-round picks, whether it's this year or next year, because forget about how we don't have to fix it this year. We don't have to fix it. Just add good players. Add good players. You don't have. We're not competing next year. Get it in your head now so you don't complain next year. We're going to not win more than 6 or 7 games next year. It's not going to happen. We're going 6, 7 games tops next year if we're lucky. There's no way to turn this disaster around in 1 year. Just draft good players. We just have to draft 2 good players and 2 good players in the second. We need to hit on our draft picks. Just draft good players. If they happen to take Lemon, if he's there, if we actually do it, and we take this, we get a guy like that, that's great. You're right. He could become the WR1. Garrett Wilson could be WR2. That'd be great. Or they could be equally good. Just 2 really good receivers. Fine. And then Mitchell's your 3. It'll become a very strong room. Very strong room. But if it doesn't, and we have to wait until 27, fine. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It's a 2-year rebuild. We're not going to the playoffs next year. We're not competing next year. So why does the order matter so much? Why does it matter which positions are filled and which aren't? Offensive line is the most important if you draft a quarterback. If we draft a quarterback, offensive line is all that matters. That's the priority. Put that maybe he doesn't have. He has Garrett Wilson. He has AD Mitchell. Taylor. You say he should have better weapons. Fine. For his first year, as long as you protect him and he doesn't get killed, and you give him good blocking and a good offensive line, we could live with that. We could live with that. And then you say the next year, okay, now we have to. If Mitchell's not the guy, if AD Mitchell doesn't have a great year, if he's not the guy, then it's like absolutely. This 27 has to be the year you take another premium wide receiver. Fine. I got no argument with that. It's just timing. We need so many things, right? We have so many holes. That's why I don't think we could trade up for a quarterback. I really don't think we could trade up. I don't see how we could trade up. We just need these draft picks. If anything, trade down. If anything, trade down. But I would like a premier linebacker. But you could trade down and get him. You can get a guy. Like you could go from the 5th pick to the 12th pick to the 13th pick if there's a trade partner. Add on some more draft capital, 2nd, 3rd round picks, and then you could take your linebacker at 12 or your safety at 12, right? Or whatever. If Lemon is there, take him if you want him. You want to check that box and get that great wide receiver in? You want to check that box? Check that box. Go ahead and do it. It's totally fine. Yeah, I agree, Knobcraft. We don't have to, unless the quarterback we love is there and falls to us, we don't have to be desperate to get a quarterback year 1. It's a 2-year rebuild. We could get a Bridge. We can get a Mariota. We can get a Winston. We could. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Allen said it best. Allen, he said it best. It really doesn't matter who plays quarterback for us next year. It doesn't matter. I'd like it to be somewhat respectable for evaluation purposes. Like I would love it to be a guy like Mariota Winston, a guy who could be somewhat functional, so you could see what you have. Because I don't understand why people are so gung ho or so certain that AD Mitchell can't be a solid WR2. It doesn't make any sense to me. What has he done to make you so sure he can't be a WR2? He's a second round pick out of Texas. He could have been a late first rounder, highly projected wide receiver, struggled his first year with the Colts. Okay. Second year, not fitting in with them, dropped the ball in the end zone. The whole thing happened with them. They didn't like him. Obviously, they didn't love him, but he was still on the team. Crowded wide receiver room. Pittman's doing good there. They had their guys. He wasn't fitting in really well. He's only in his second year. He comes here. It took him 3 weeks to have a 100-yard receiving game. He had 79, 80 yards yesterday in that catastrophe. He had one bad game where he had some drops. Okay. But that's never been part of his career. It was never a problem in college. He's not a dropper. It's not a problem with him as a player. He gets open like crazy. You could watch the tape. He's open like crazy. When he actually has quarterbacks do anything competent and actually throw the football to him, he's been good. How do we know? Why are we putting a ceiling on A.D. Mitchell in the second year of his career? When I could show you Hall of Fame wide receivers, all-pro wide receivers who weren't that good, who weren't turning anybody's head their first 2 years. Look at Antonio Brown. You saw his career, right? Look at the first few years of his career. Tell me what was so special about it. You know how many examples there are of that? Like it's like some guys don't just explode right away in their career. They take a step back and then they develop into great wide receivers. And we're only asking him to be a WR2. We're only asking him to be a WR2. Look at the guy from San Diego, from LA, the Chargers. Right? Look at that wide receiver. He just had a breakout year 3. Why are we setting a ceiling on A.D. Mitchell? I'm not saying that A.D. Mitchell is a WR2. I'm saying that I don't know that he's not, though. There's absolutely zero evidence. There is nothing that says what his ceiling is yet in this league. It's like nobody's watched the NFL before. It's like because he's not a star right away in his first year and a half, that means he automatically can't be a good wide receiver. I don't understand where that's coming from. I don't understand who invented that in their head. Who wrote the rule that you have to be a star in your first 2 years in the NFL to end up being good? I would like next year to see what A.D. Mitchell is. I'm not saying that if Lemon is not on the board when you pick, with that second pick, you don't take him. I'm not saying that. I'm not, you know what I mean? That's totally fine, too. Totally fine. Why are you saying Shuck? What does Shuck have to do with this? He's in his rookie year. Mr. Bruno says it starts with good coaching. Well, good coaching would help. Shuck, how many ones do you give? Well, New Orleans is not trading him, and I'm also not looking to trade tons of number 1 picks for a guy because he had one decent start. Like, he's been okay. I wouldn't, I'm not, I don't know. I don't think New Orleans is trading him, though. So I don't think it's worth the discussion. Look, people quietly, J.J. McCarthy, who everybody just wrote off as a bust, quietly has had 2 really good weeks in a row. He was great against Washington, and he had a really good game against Dallas. And, Dallas hasn't been easy for every quarterback to have a great game against. I mean, I'm not building them up to be anything that's super special, but, yeah, Mr. Bruno saying his hands weren't never a problem in college. But yeah, I mean, he had some drops. He did the stupid drop in the end zone for the Colts. But yeah, I mean, if the problem is his hands, we have to see if he can fix it, right? Because it's early in his career. And it wasn't a problem yesterday. And it wasn't a problem 2 weeks ago when he got 100 yards receiving, right? It's one game. He had 1 week with us where he was dropping passes. and he seemed to have corrected it. Like it's not a big issue right now. So, but you get in some good coaching. You get a good quarterback who has good ball placement, where it's not always putting pressure on the receiver to make great catches, but actually be able to hit them in the chest sometimes, the way real quarterbacks do, the way he gets open. We might have something in him. We're going to find out. And the thing is I'm not saying he has to be a 1,200, 1,300 yard WR1 receiver, right? Depending on how your team is built, he could be an 800 yard to 900 yard receiver, and that's a perfectly good WR2. If you have a really active tight end that's getting a lot of passes, and you have a very good WR1, and you have a very good running game, right? It just depends on the offense, on what decides a good WR2. It just depends on the offense. Certain offenses, if you're passing a lot and you rely heavily on the passing game, you might need a WR2 where the number should be over 1,000 yards for a WR2, right? But that's not always the case. Depends on the team. I would love to I got to do what AD Mitchell's pace would be. Like if we took the 4 games he was a Jet and multiplied his yards, average per game, and then figured it out times 17. I'm curious what AD Mitchell's numbers would look like. But, considering that we're playing an undrafted free agent quarterback, considering Justin Fields was terrible, Taylor wasn't so hot, who has he had throwing him the ball? Who has AD Mitchell had throwing him the ball? Yeah. So I would love to see Bruno. I would love to see if Mitchell and Mechie could be those guys. If not, we'll draft someone. We have tons of draft capital. It's always okay to draft more weapons. It's never a bad thing. Never going to complain about it. But I just think that when you're doing a complete rebuild and you have 2 years of good picks, you could prioritize what do you need first. And I don't think we could keep marching a football team out there without safeties, without NFL quality safeties and linebackers. It's just too hard to watch. Like you at least need to get a stud linebacker in the middle there. Get a good defensive coordinator. Bring back the 2 defensive tackles that are playing okay. You got JJ. You know, um, but get a really good safety in there. Hopefully, Az Thomas will keep developing. Maybe we could keep it respectable. We won't be a top defense, but maybe we could be an NFL defense, something somewhat respectable. And then and then on the offense, like, what are the pieces we need to fix? We need to fix linebacker desperately, safety desperately. We need edge desperately. A lot of defensive things that we desperately need on offense. Yeah, at some point in the next 2 years, we have to add another weapon, another wide receiver, no question about it. It wouldn't be terrible to bring in another good tight end, because as much as I like Mason Taylor, it wouldn't hurt. It's another weapon. Running back, I'm not worrying about, because we're certainly not going to use the top pick on running back. You could use a 3rd-round pick on running back. So if Brees is not the answer, you see if Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, if are one of those the answer? Those 2 by committee with bringing a 3rd guy. Do we need to use a 3rd-round pick or something real to get a RB1? I don't know. So if Brees Hall's not around, I'm not worried about wide receiver. That's going to be easy to fix because we don't have to use a top pick to fix it, right? We might have to use one of those premier picks on a wide receiver, but that could be after next year, seeing what we really need, right? Like, what are the key critical things we need? We need to keep the offensive line solid. So when we do find that quarterback, we have that offensive line is in place. Like that's the key thing we have to maintain, is that offensive line. We can't let that break down. Remember all those back-breaking pick sixes Darnold used to throw, and Sam was a 1st-round pick for UDFA, starting against the playoff team at home. Brady Cook looked like a veteran. um, Brady Cook might be a backup quarterback for us, right? He might bring that. He's certainly not the answer. Like, right? He's certainly not the answer. But he's not going to be a franchise quarterback. I mean, we must know that. But I don't know. Maybe he holds a clipboard one day and he's the guy that can come in for a game. I mean, I'm not going to make any final judgment on him, but it's definitely not good. It's not what you'd hope or dream of. But it is what it is. DTDE needed. Yeah, we need a lot of things. Yeah, if you toughen up the defensive line, it will help the secondary. I think we're a cornerback. I'm okay now with Stevens. I'm okay with Az Thomas. I think Az Thomas is having a pretty good, when he was playing, a pretty decent rookie year for Az Thomas. I was okay with him. I think he's going to be a really solid cornerback in this league. I do. Yeah, there's the things that I liked about Cook was he things I liked about Cook is he certainly looked as good as Tyrod Taylor or he was better than Fields for sure. He wasn't that much of a downgrade from Tyrod Taylor. He's not afraid to throw the ball. I really like that about him, that he's not afraid to throw the ball. Um, and he did keep his place. He did. He kept his place. But he's also, he's just not ready. He's not ready. He can't read an NFL defense yet, really. He's, those some terrible, a lot of interceptions. But you know, I mean, I have no anger towards Brady Cook, but I mean, look, he's going to get a few more games, right? I think he should. I don't think they should bench him. I think Cook should start the rest of the season. I'm on Brady Cook's. I'm not on that team. I mean, it's either we're gonna lose out, and that helps us with the draft to get a quarterback, or he does really well, gets better and better and better, and hey, maybe we do have our bridge. Maybe we don't have to draft a quarterback this year. Maybe we could go a whole season looking at this kid if he gets better and better and better. To me, it's a can't lose situation. Except the worst thing we could do, is not start Brady Cook at this point. Like that does no using Tyrod at this point does nothing good for us. There's no point in that. We may as well just go with Brady Cook. I'm all about it. But I'm not going to sit here and start like arguing that he could be a franchise quarterback. He's going to have to show me a lot more before I get excited about him. But I do respect him for throwing the ball and not being afraid to throw the ball. Like especially after what we had to watch this year. Um, yeah, I agree with the Drew Aller take. If Drew Aller's going to be there in the second round, even I don't even think you have to wait till day three. If Drew Aller's there second round and the Jets didn't take a quarterback and they take him, I have no problem with that. I think it's ridiculous how people got set, how people will scarf and laugh at Drew Aller as an option in the second or third round or whatever it is, and then be excited about Brady Cook. Like, are we really going to say that Brady Cook is better than Drew Aller in college? Are you really going to say that? I mean, that's laughable to me. Laughable. The guy was projected to be a top 10 pick last year for a while. Yes, he got off to a bad start and had bad games against good teams. So he's no longer a top 5 pick project. Fine. But you know how many great how do we totally write him off and say he's not a prospect anymore? Like, I would totally be cool with taking him. I love it that people are saying take a flyer on Drew Aller. I'm all about it. I think that would be a great thing to do. There's a chance that he's good. There's a chance that it had to do with Penn State in that offense. There's a chance that if Drew Aller played for Oregon for the Ducks, that his numbers would be off the charts. There is that chance. The guy has a great arm. But for Drew Aller to go day 3 is crazy to me. It's crazy. They're going to let him go through the third round undrafted. The guy was projected to be a top 10 pick. He had 2 bad games, 2 or 3 bad games. Not even that bad. They weren't terrible. He just wasn't as good as people. He just had some decision-making issues. I mean, that means that a lot of people in this playoff, if Ty Simpson plays like crap and they get killed and he doesn't play well, are we going to do what we did to Drew Aller? Are you going to say that Ty Simpson is no longer a prospect and just say he's a day 3 pick next year? I mean, if that happens, right? Because that's what happens to Drew Aller. Oh, he had some bad games. I guess we should completely write him off. He should go from a top 10 pick to not even draftable. To me, it's crazy. We should definitely take a flyer on Drew Aller. Definitely. When you grade Brady Cook on Sunday, we're grading a UDF, not a career backup like Tyrod is a rookie. I gave him a solid B for that. I guess you could if you want to be forgiving of him, like if you want to rate him based on his situation. Undrafted free agent, playing his first full game, his first start, playing on a terrible team, let's face it. Defense that's not really helping you. It's hard to establish a rhythm because, they're putting you behind. Like, if you want to put all those things together and give him a B, that's fine. But I'm not going to be excited about him. I'm not going to sit here and be like all excited. Maybe Brady Cook. Like that would only be if he came out and kicked ass. Like if he threw 3 touchdown passes. Like if he didn't throw those interceptions, then that's to the point where you can get excited. But if you want to defend him and say we shouldn't pick him apart, that's fine. But I'm not going to get excited about him. I'm not going to sit here and scream and say, I think we found our guy. I mean, you know what I mean? So that's the only thing. Like I can't sit there and say we found our guy. Um, yeah, I like that. The beauty of Drew Aller is it doesn't keep you from drafting a quarterback in 2027. Exactly. We can't make that hack and shit mistake again. We can't make the mistake of thinking, if you pick a guy, that you wait a year. Like in other words, if Drew Aller comes in and he lights it up in camp and he looks amazing, you get next year's a throwout season anyway. No matter what, you make sure he gets some games in, and if he looks really good, then you don't have to draft a quarterback. You go with it, right? But if he looks like crap, you still draft a quarterback in 27. So yeah. Billy, you don't have to defend yourself. I'm with you, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I understand why you're giving him a B. I get it. You're doing it with context. Like you're not grading him as if it was a starting quarterback in the NFL that was drafted in the first round, right? It's not like you're rating his day. Like for Patrick Mahomes, if Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or whoever came out and had that exact game yesterday, you'd probably give him a D or an F. But you're saying based on who he is in his situation, you're giving him a B, and that's fine. But I'm not getting excited about a player until he plays well. You know what I mean? And like so I understand he's new, he's young, he's overwhelmed, he's made a couple he's nerves, threw some interceptions. We don't know what he could be, fine. But I'm not gonna run around and say we found our quarterback until he could actually show he could play quarterback. I like the touchdown pass. I thought he made a couple of good passes. Like that was a nice little drive in there. And again, he wasn't that much of a drop off from Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I'm not going to go crazy and say he was as good as Tyrod Taylor. I don't know, but Tyrod Taylor definitely has showed more flash than that in his career. But he also has not looked good for us, Tyrod Taylor. Justin Fields didn't throw any interceptions, but he didn't throw the ball. It's easy to say I didn't throw any interceptions when you hold on to the ball for 8 seconds and take sacks. So we really need to just again we no, I am 100%. Let's roll with Brady Cook the rest of the year. So I think we're all in agreement. I don't see anybody screaming that Brady Cook shouldn't be out there. Everybody's saying it. I think everybody would love it if he started to turn it around and play really well. If he showed any kind of growth or potential, I think everybody would love it. Why wouldn't we love it? It would be great, right? You always want that for any position, for a guy to come out and suddenly start like Brownlee. When we got Brownlee and he came in for Michael Carter and played well, we were all happy. We are like, yeah. Javon Briggs, when he started playing well, when Briggs started being Briggs and playing well, that was great. Yeah. That's what we want. That's the dream, right? You get these guys, and whether you invested a high draft pick or a trade, or whether you paid a free agent, or whether you got him off the junkyard, it doesn't matter. In any situation where a guy comes in and plays well, you're happy, right? That's what we want. Guys to come in, get on the field and play well. So we all want him to do well. I mean, we don't want him to win against New Orleans unless he plays so well. It's because he's our next quarterback. So it's kind of tricky there. You know what I mean? Like, but if he lit it up for the next 3 games, like if he got better and better, and he was like, oh my God, he just tears apart Buffalo and New England. Like, okay, I guess we have our quarterback. I wouldn't hold your breath though. I wouldn't hold your breath. There's a lot of him playing in college, in the SEC. There's a lot of film and everything, and nobody took him. So that it's hard to ignore that. Nobody took him. Brock Purdy was taken. You know what I mean? But nobody took Cook. Nobody. It's a little bit makes you scratch your head. Why didn't anybody take him? But then again, he threw a beautiful touchdown. It was nice to see his parents get all excited and jump up and down. It was the one nice part of the game. It was nice. It was also nice when we watched Williams do that punt return for a touchdown until that referee decided that he needed to call a play that had no bearing or impact on the game at all, no impact on the play at all. But that referee needed to feel important, right? And he needed to just impact the game in a major way for no reason other than I need to impact the game. Like these referees won't get it out of their head. If it doesn't affect the play, if something happens away from the ball that has no bearing on the play, leave it be. Don't change the outcome of the game. Don't change what's going on in the game unless the penalty creates the play. If the play happened because of the penalty, then you throw the flag. But if some guy is being held or blocked out of bounds, had nothing to do with the play at all, what are you doing? But you know what? It doesn't take away the fact that we got to watch that beautiful return. Like, penalty or not, man, that was a thing to behold. Like, we got ourselves an insane punt returner, man. Like, this guy, we all wanted him cut after game 1 or game 3 when he came in the first time he played. We all wanted him cut, and he was put on the practice squad. But man, am I glad he stuck around. Man, am I glad no one else took him and he got back on this team, because wow, this is as good as any punt returner I've ever seen. Like, since like Desmond Howard. I mean, this is crazy. This kid is amazing. That was an amazing return. That referee should just be shamed by the league to erase greatness from the history books, because that instant replay, that play should go down forever, man. Like, that was such a beautiful return. It was so great too, because as soon as the ball was in the air, I got Green Bean's attention. I said, "Punt, we got a good punt returner," and then he did that. It was just so exciting. Glenn is firing Wilks now, so when the Jets D is no better over the next 3 weeks, Wilks will have an excuse. It was a favor from Glenn. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, because can you expect the replacement who's not going to change the system at all? We didn't bring in anybody from the outside. You're talking about, it's the same thing as with what you did with, last year when we fired Salah with Ulbrich. I mean, you're literally not replacing him. You're just taking a guy off of his job to now be the defensive coordinator who's going to play the same exact system, because with 3 weeks left, what are you really going to change? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? I mean, maybe let's see if he gets just more out of them. It's the play calling. Maybe he calls a better game, right? But even if you call a great game, I don't see how the talent is there. There's just no talent, and but I think even with no talents, Wilkes should have been fired. It was a good firing. I just, I think that he's a terrible defensive coordinator. Terrible. Because there was too many plays where it was also the scheme, because like, again, it was way too much space, not making adjustments, teams beating us the same way week after week. Nobody, nothing in the middle of the field. Like you just have a guy run 5 yards across the field, wide open against the Jets all year. So he had to go. Yeah, the refs had to protect the spread. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that firing had more to do with morale in the locker room than for performance. Maybe. Maybe it was just they quit, and you just can't keep holding on to a player that quit. You can't hold on to someone that keeps quitting. When the players quit on you, the players quit, the players quit, the players quit. At some point, you need to bring in a coach. Well, they're not going to quit. So those guys quit. But they quit before the game. It's not like they quit during the game. They quit before the game. They already had quit. They came out onto the field to start the game as quitters. Because look at those first few drives. Look how fast Jacksonville put up those touchdowns. They quit. We quit. It's like we quit before the game even started. Yeah, I mean, we're probably not jumping the Raiders, but we have to see how the playoffs play out. You don't know what Ty Simpson and Dante Moore are going to do. What if Oregon wins the championship and Dante Moore plays amazing in every game? He might be the pick. West Coast, Oregon, West Coast, Raiders, Vegas. Like, I don't know. We don't know that it's going to be Mendoza yet. There's still a whole college playoff. Combines. There's a lot of things can change. But yeah, I mean, the Raiders are, I mean, I think the thing that you're, JJ, that is 100% about what you're saying is, more than likely the Raiders are not winning another game, right? So they're going to have control. So they're going to get first choice on the quarterback. And if things hold up the way they are, it'll be Mendoza, most likely. We have to assume that they're going to take Mendoza. I think the majority of the world has him as number one, but not everybody does. So we don't know for sure. They might love somebody else, but yeah. I mean, that's the situation. I think that we may need, if the quarterback doesn't drop to us and the teams want too much to trade up, I don't think we could afford with our roster to give away our picks to trade up. I think we just have to say, okay, Next year, we're going to suck next year anyway. Maybe this is not the year we find our quarterback. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but it just might be the reality. If there's just no one out of college, if there's no one there, hey, I mean, you can't fight. There's nothing you could do. You can't make magic. You know, if you were a quarterback in college and you knew you had the high probability of being drafted in the first round this year, wouldn't you declare? I think so. In my opinion, they're going to all declare. In my opinion, as long as their agent is going to put out the feelers, they always do. And you could look at the experts. Dante Moore could turn on the TV just like us. He could read Twitter too. He could look at all those little projections and he could see, oh, look, I'm projected to go in the first 10 picks or 5 picks. And I could go onto PFN and do a mock draft. Oh, look, I'm selected number 3 or I'm selected number 2 in every one of these mock drafts. Just like we know, Dante Moore's going to know if he's likely to get drafted in the top 5. And if it's very likely he's going to get drafted in the top 5, we can only assume that he's going to declare, because I don't know how you don't declare. I'll take NIL money. I'll take $10 million, but I'm going to turn down $40 million guaranteed. Like, it's $40 million guaranteed. I know Dano's saying no second contract. That's the big one. Yeah, but you don't know you're going to be good. Believe me, they might believe it delusionally, but like no quarterback could know they're going to be good in the NFL. They don't know that they're going to get a second contract, right? You're just going to take that first, the second you're a top 5 pick, it's $40 million, guaranteed $40 million. You're done. Your life is set, even paying your agent, whatever, they're $4 million of it, 36, and after taxes, let's say you take home $22 million. If you have any brain at all, you take that $20 million, right? Take $2 million, buy your house, do what you want to do. You take the $20 million, you put it in the safest funds. You get a money manager, you diversify it, you make it super safe, conservative, 5% a year. $20 million, 5% a year. It's $1 million a year the rest of your life. And you're good. That's your worst case scenario in wealth. You got yourself a $2 million house where you want to live in the country, right? Buy a nice house somewhere. You don't have to live in the most expensive areas because who cares, right? Just pick a nice place, maybe in Colorado, wherever you want to live. $2 million house, swimming pool, the works. You get $1 million a year the rest of your life in interest. That's it. After taxes, you're taking home $650 a year, $650K a year. If you're good in the NFL, then you get the second contract. Or maybe you make a few more million, even if you're not that good. Like Justin Fields got another $20 million, $30 million, $30 million guaranteed. So he got his first contract, and then he got another $30 million on top of it. Not even being that good. If you're at all functional, you'll get a second contract and make another 20. Then you'll have 30 million put away that you could live on for the rest of your life. It's not bad. It's not a bad deal. Then you get 1.5 million a year the rest of your life. So I mean, Harlan is saying we should wait maybe. Yeah, I definitely think we should take a shot. Like if nobody drops us and we don't pick a quarterback in the first round, if we don't get one of these guys, or if we don't like them for whatever reason, I definitely think we should take a shot on someone, on Drew Aller or Sawyer, or like one of these guys. Like take a shot at it, like because you're not committed to it. Like if it doesn't work out, you just draft a quarterback next year. I really want to use our picks to trade up. I'm right with you, man. We should not be using our picks. We need our draft ammo. We need it badly. If anything, take that Colts pick, trade down to 25, 26 in the draft. Let's say it's number 17 in the draft, 16 in the draft. Trade down to 25, 26, unless there's a guy you have to take because you love. But trade back to 26 if they did this. And let's say, what would they get in return to go down 10 spots in that situation? They'd probably get like a second and a third, and then a second next year or something like that. Some combination of day 2 picks, right? Maybe it would just be a second this year, a second next year, and like a fourth, whatever it is. I have no problem with that. The dream would be give me a second and a third, and then a second or a third next year. That would be the dream. Because then we get a third round pick, which we desperately need in this year's draft, and another second all day long, baby. Then we still get a quality player at 26, right? quality player at with your first pick, a super premier player, very high quality pick at 26, and then you got 3 second round picks all day long, baby, all day long. That's how you build a roster. Trade up next year for Jeremiah Smith. Look, if we do nothing, and with that Colts pick, if a guy like Lemon, a wide receiver, drops to you, you can end that. You can check that box right away. Take Lemon, you're good at wide receiver. You get Garrett Wilson for the next 5 years, and you got Lemon, you're good. You're locked down at wide receiver. You got your studs. Gonna have to get a quarterback though. Doesn't mean nothing. I mean, Cincinnati got two great wide receivers and a great quarterback, and it doesn't mean nothing. So you have to build a full roster. That's the argument to not trade up. What does Joe Burrow give you? What has Cincinnati gotten? They got the Super Bowl that first year, right? But what have they gotten since then? What have they gotten? Where's it gotten them? They got great wide receivers, great quarterback. Where has it? What has it gotten them? You got to have a good roster. We got a ton of draft capital right now. We got to fill this roster. We have to build a roster. At some point, we're going to need a quarterback. Nobody's denying that. But you also need a roster. Because the chances that you get a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson or Peyton Manning or one of those kind of level guys that carry your franchise in their back and can do it with just an average roster, the chances of that are so slim, it's really stupid to play that game. It's a really stupid game to play. Because Mendoza could be a good quarterback. He might be our franchise quarterback. It still doesn't mean he's going to be one of those top guys. He might just be really good. He's still going to need a great roster around him, right? He's still going to need a really good roster. So if you trade everything to get him, then how are you going to put the roster around him? We're still not going to win anything. Yeah, you got to be careful with any quarterback that you draft, but not just Penn State. I can't see Rusty Spooner. It's so annoying. Rusty, I love you, man. You know what you are, Rusty. You're a savage. I can't see you because you got me blocked, but you're a savage. I know you got me blocked because I can see everybody that's blocked on my YouTube, and you are not on that list. You need to go into YouTube Studio and go into Audience or whatever. There's some kind of thing I could talk. I've tried to talk you through it. There is a way you can unblock me. I am blocked in your YouTube. I am. If I had control of your YouTube for 5 minutes, I would unblock me and this would be over, and I'd be able to see you. I know it's an accident. I know you don't mean to be blocking me, but you are, buddy. You are. You know you're not a technical guy. But I see that you're out there. Can someone cut and paste everything Rusty Spooner says? Like cut and paste it and put it in and say, from Rusty, so I can see it. You love this guy, Pavia. I got to watch him. His box score, you certainly couldn't tell from his box score against good teams, but I'll watch him because I understand that quarterbacks are more than a box score. Maybe he's got terrible talent around him. I have to look at him myself. I mean, Tony, the GM, hasn't said anything about him. Pavia. Is he even coming out, Pavia, though? Isn't he young? I didn't even know there was, he was going to consider coming out in the draft. That's why I haven't really watched him. So, what is Rusty saying? He said hi? What's up, Edward? Are you saying hi? Or are you speaking for Rusty? You know what Rusty is, everybody. I'll say it again. He's a savage. Pavia is a good quarterback. He's a senior. Okay. Is he a day 2 pick? Day 3? Like when could you grab him? Why don't we grab 2 or 3 guys? We got all those back picks. Why don't we with our 4th round, in the 4th round, we start grabbing quarterbacks. We'll grab Drew Aller. We'll grab Pavia. We'll grab Sawyer. Let's just start grabbing quarterbacks. The people who want Pavia, probably the ones who wanted Dylan Gabriel. Huh. I don't know what that means. Dylan Gabriel wasn't terrible. I mean, right? Shedeur Sanders played yesterday's game. Was much worse than any game Dylan Gabriel has. Shedeur Sanders was really bad yesterday. Really bad. Pavia will be around late. Then grab him. Do you think it's going to be the next DC? Who do you think is going to be the next DC? The next defensive coordinator, I meant to talk about that. We fired Wilks, and I didn't even get into that. You know how you get a good defensive coordinator? A coach gets fired, the whole staff gets fired, and then you end up with a guy where the defensive coordinator wasn't the problem. How many times have you seen that? You see a staff get fired, the whole staff gets fired, but they had a good defensive coordinator or they had a good offensive coordinator. And if they didn't promote them because they just fired the whole thing, you can go in there and snatch a good coordinator. So, for example, let's say the Indianapolis Colts, that crazy female owner. Let's say she's crazy. She's with the clipboard. Let's say they implode. They don't win another game, and she fires the whole staff. You go out and you get the Colts defensive coordinator. In a second, I do that. In second. You grab them. Those Colts coordinators, you have to look at those guys because that team is not that good, and they were 7-1 before they started to implode. There's reasons why they imploded that are not their fault, but they've gotten a lot of that. They almost beat Seattle yesterday. That's if the defense with Sauce Gardner hurt, their new guy, their new prize, they still almost beat Seattle. They were really good. Like, I am interested in the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, of the Indianapolis Colts. And the Seahawks coordinator. I'll take him too. But if they fire like the Colts staff for their implosion, look at who the defensive coordinator is. Like, that's an example of how to me, of how you find a defensive coordinator. Sometimes like you could have a diamond in the rough get cut because he's just part of a whole staff. Marcus? Who's Marcus? My 26th bridge of choice is starting rest of the year now. They just said, Marcus. Are you talking about the kid from Green Bay? Okay, Pavia pissed people off the other day taking his headphones out. I thought that's a New York Jets quarterback. Oh, look, it's getting late and I got a client coming soon. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Gotta go. Oh, Mariota. Okay. Yeah, Mariota was okay yesterday. He was a good game manager. Just when I started to get a bunch of people in here, I have to go. Sorry, guys. I got to run. 20 people supporting the channel. Hit the like button. I only got 10 likes. Hit the like button, and I'll come in and I'll do this more often impromptu. I'll do it more often impromptu, like Bruno says, but you got to hit the like button. Got to hit the like button. Otherwise, I don't feel like you like me. So why would I come in? Huh? How about that? Anyway, I see somebody hit the like button. So take care, everybody. Be good. I'll be Wednesday, 3 o'clock p.m. on Matt O'Leary's channel. Wednesday, 3 o'clock p.m., Matt O'Leary's channel. I'll see you then. I love you too, Dana.